After growing up on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games back in the day, it's a damn shame to see the series become dormant yet again, especially after Vicarious Visions tried one last-ditch effort to bring the series' corpse back from the dead with the remakes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters 1 and 2. And while that game was successful at the time, unfortunately, not too long after this, Activision Blizzard swallowed the company whole and quietly shut them down. And with the Tony Hawk license being held hostage by Activision at this point, it's fair to say that this series is dead from here on out, which again is a damn shame. But thanks to the dedicated few within the Tony Hawk community, there's a mod out there that's been in development for over 10 years at this point, that's constantly being updated over the past decade to bring a true, fully customizable Tony Hawk Pro Skater experience by bringing together almost every single mainline title in the series into one single package. That mod that's the subject of today's video is none other than the fantastic THUGPRO. Now, THUGPRO has been around for quite a while at this point, dating as far back as 2013 when the first build of the mod dropped, which means this fantastic project has been in development for over 10 years at this point. Now, the devs originally made the mod due to the Tony Hawk community splintering off around the time that the horrendous Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 came out. By far one of the worst versions of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater to ever be produced. And I mean, I still haven't touched that game with a 10-foot pole, and even I know it's a steaming pile of shit. And with the servers for the older games in the series shutting down, as Activision's no longer printing any money off of this series, that means that there's no way for fans of the THPS community to play together outside of the accessibility of, couch split screen, which nobody really plays anymore, unfortunately. But THUGPRO's goal, even from the start, was to unite the entire Pro Skater multiplayer community by bringing together almost every piece of Pro Skater and Underground content from the Neversoft era into one singular title, with active servers going on even to this day to keep the multiplayer for these classics to live on as long as possible. THUGPRO is essentially a mod for the PC version of Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and it uses that game and its engine as a baseline for the entirety of the experience. Seeing as Thug 2 basically perfected Neversoft's formula for the Tony Hawk franchise and its gameplay, it makes perfect sense for this engine to be used, because the possibility for tricks and the player expression are endless on this game's engine, and always has been. And while the focus of this mod is primarily directed towards multiplayer, there's still plenty of content to check out even if you aren't interested in skating around with other players. With THUGPRO's goal being to bring together content from the entirety of the Neversoft era, it's insane to see such a huge roster of levels all accessible from one singular title. This mod includes nearly every single level from where the series started with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 all the way to the 8th iteration of the franchise with Project 8, meaning there's a total of over 60 levels to skate around in this mod itself. And each one of these maps have been faithfully ported and reworked in the Thug 2 engine to allow these maps to be played with the full spectrum of tricks from the Thug 2 in its bag, with a lot of these maps also being filled out with NPCs and even vehicles roaming around in some cases to make these old maps feel a bit more alive. It's honestly interesting getting the chance to revisit some of these maps with Underground 2's framework, because you can get some insane speed in some cases, which can make some of those classic maps feel just a bit smaller when you're pulling a melee combo at about 60 miles an hour. But man, is it damn fun. Keep in mind though, there are a few maps that are missing from a few of the game's rosters, including a few from THPS 1 and 2 and Project 8 unfortunately. Plus you won't see any of the maps from Proving Ground at all, but even then I still haven't played that game to this day, so I guess it's okay in my book. But even with those maps not being included in the current version, you still have a ton of variety of locations to play through. From the classic Minneapolis map from the original Pro Skater 1, all the way to Australia and Thug 2, or even Andy's room from Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. The kid-friendly Pro Skater game. Another neat little addition for the levels is the fact that you can add and remove objects from each of the maps that were added in different iterations throughout the campaigns, which can really change up the dynamic of each level at your disposal. Plus, being able to change the day and night cycle is always a plus too. And ever since the 0.6 release of THUGPRO back in 2018, players have been able to mod in their own custom maps into the mod as well, meaning there's what feels like an infinite supply of new and old content for you to play through in THUGPRO. Plus, some creators have already taken the opportunity to port over maps that haven't made it in themselves, like with Larxia's Proving Ground pack, which has all 3 wide open maps from Proving Ground ported over with NPCs and even cars filling up the map, making it feel like this map belonged in the game from the very start. Or maybe you feel like skating around Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls, cause, why not? And there's so many more maps to find and experience out there in the wild. I'd say a good place to start if you want to download some custom maps is with Larxia's Proving Ground pack, or the Lost Levels that have been curated by a bunch of the community. And not only can you port in custom maps, but there's also a way to import custom skaters into the mod as well. But for me personally, I can't figure this out for the life of me, how to do it after the most recent release of this mod. It used to work for me, but I'm not even sure it's fully supported anymore. If anyone knows though, definitely let me know in the comments. But even then, this mod itself has a ton of characters for you to choose from the skater selection screen. Not only do you have the full roster of pro skaters and even the secret skaters from Thug 2, but most of the pro skaters also have alternative skins that you can use that are mainly from Thug 1. There's also some throwback skins with some of the characters, like with Tony Hawk having his THPS1 skin, or even the legendary Steve Caballero having an updated model to match how he looks nowadays, which is dope. Plus, you also have a ton of extra character models like the pedestrians from the Thug franchise available to play as, and even some of the secret skaters from the Pro Skater games that happen to be released back on PC. So you even have Wolverine and Darth Maul, and even Doom Guy from Pro Skater 3, as well as the secret skaters from Pro Skater 4. And each of these skaters have all of their original tricks that were set up for each one back on their respective games, including their special tricks, which is an incredible amount of detail for these characters instead of just giving each one a generic trick list. Plus, you'll also be able to create a skater just like in Thug 2. And most of the time, this is what I see a lot of players using over on the multiplayer side. There's a huge range of customizable items that you can outfit your character with, and it's not just the items that you get back in Thug 2. There's inclusions of new shirts, jackets, jeans, and more, but you also get a variety of new logos and even graffiti tags that you can equip for your player as well. And plus, I'm pretty sure the character sliders, where you can adjust the different body parts for your skater, have all been inflated just a bit, so players can make some incredibly cursed creations. Yeah. And trust me, you're gonna see a lot of these cursed characters over in the online servers, but we'll get back to that at a later point. The fact that we have a ton of customization options that we can use for our character just gives you the chance to really go all out in the form of player expression, and I'm all for that. But besides character customization, there's also a ton of other ways that you can customize the entirety of the experience while playing Thug Pro. Unfortunately, you won't have all of the creative modes like in Thug 2. Like with create a tag being missing, the game does make up for it by having a ton of new tags and stickers for you to choose from, as well as a lot of new decks that you can choose from as well. Or the fact that you can create entirely new parks to skate around on, as well as having the option to export these maps and share them with the rest of the THPS modding community. But what I really want to talk about in the form of customization options is what you can adjust over inside of the settings to change up the gameplay to your own liking. In the settings menu, you'll be able to adjust a variety of parameters of the gameplay itself, and even a ton of different control options to really make the experience your own. In a recent update, they've also added newer gameplay mechanics that you find even in like American Wasteland, by now having the ability to do a boned ollie or even rail stalls. And also having the option to turn on and off certain exploits that have been found over the years from the community, like the infamous butt slap, which is just a way for you to get a bit more air in your combos, which I'm honestly still practicing these, but hey, I'll probably get them down one of these days with this mod. But still, the fact that you can turn on and off these exploits, as well as adjust certain gameplay features that were added over the course of the series' growth, is a huge plus to help you customize your own Tony Hawk Pro Skater experience to your liking. You can adjust things like freakouts, reverts, rail stalls, and even things like wall shuffles, and they can all be toggled on and off at your desire. But let's be real, all of these newer tricks in our bag that we have available can really make the gameplay for this extremely fun and fast-paced once you get things down. So I typically keep a lot of these things enabled. Also, just one little side note I wanted to add here, you can also change the way that you spray tags by just using a spray paint like normal, or you can just burp them up on a wall like Shrek does, and I just find that hilarious. And also in the latest update for Thug Pro, the devs added an option for us to be able to choose a theme for the mod as well. And there's a ton of options that you can choose here. Now, these mainly just switch up the look of like your special and balance meters, but if you really want the game feeling like one of the specific games in the Pro Skater series, like American Wasteland or Pro Skater 4, changing up the theme really helps in that endeavor. And the fact that all of this is so customizable makes this feel like the definitive Tony Hawk experience, because you can adjust almost everything to your liking. Whether you're a classic player or really enjoy the hectic nature of the Thug games, no matter what, it's all available here at your fingertips. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to point out when it comes to the customization is the fact that you can add custom soundtracks to this mod as well. I mean, come on, music is a huge factor of these Tony Hawk games back in the day, and it's probably where a lot of us at a young age found a ton of new artists to listen to over the years. And by default, you mainly just have the Thug 2 soundtrack loaded in, since this mod is running off of that game, of course. But on the THPSX community forums, you'll be able to find a ton of custom soundtracks, as well as the older game soundtracks can be found there as well. If you end up downloading these soundtracks and port them into your mod files, they'll appear inside of the audio settings. From there, you can hit choose soundtrack and load up any of the other soundtracks that you've ported to the mod. And that full track list will be available for you to flip through as you play. And thankfully, these are going to be the uncensored versions of these songs, which, not gonna lie, it kind of threw me off a couple times when I was playing these at first, just because I wasn't expecting it, but it's definitely a nice touch. Because, come on, nobody likes censored music, let's be real. Now, when it comes to what exactly you'll be doing in this mod, it really comes down to what's available on hand right at the main menu. If you notice, the very first option that we have is either to play online or to free skate by ourselves. Meaning that the main focus of this mod, like I mentioned earlier, is that THUGPRO is all about multiplayer, baby, and it does not disappoint in that regard. Even to this day, there are a ton of active servers going on for this mod at any given time, so you'll never fall short of finding a match to jump into, and all of the classic multiplayer modes from the series have been included in this game. From the infamous Trick Attack, which is probably what you're going to see most servers running on at any given time, all the way to different fan favorites from the series like Graffiti, and of course all the other classics that you know and love are here. Plus, anytime you start up a server, it's not like it's going to throw you into that game mode right away. What it does is it basically starts you and the rest of the server off in free skate, and the server host can then choose what game type can be played within the server. Plus, you'll also be able to communicate with others on the server through text chat. However, unfortunately, there's not going to be any voice chat that's included in this mod, but I mean, there's always alternatives for that. You got Discord, Steam, or whatever the hell. And once you load up into a server and get a few others into your game, you can start chatting it up and jump straight into some game modes and have a good time. I will say though, most of your time, you're probably going to be doing Trick Attack in most servers. Just because I feel like it's basically like the team deathmatch of Tony Hawk games, if that makes sense. Like, everyone's basically going for the highest score possible, and holy shit, my dude. Some of these players go so far past the 0 mark on the clock that if you aren't spry enough yourself when it comes to this game, you're gonna be sitting there for a little while seeing these skating gods fly around the map like a moth around light. And it's insane to see what these dudes come up with. Plus, being able to see other players' wild creations is definitely a plus in my book, because there are some abominations that you can come across, and they're just bonkers. But even though multiplayer is the main focus here, and I get it, we want to try to keep the community together as much as possible since the series is pretty much dead at this point, I still feel like this mod is desperately missing something that I feel like would even appeal to those that dive into this just for a few multiplayer matches. Like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to single player offerings, all we really get is free skate. There's basically nothing else here if you're looking for single player. The only thing you can really do in free skate is try to get as high a score as possible and then try to beat that score at a later point. But since this mod has nearly every single level in the series, I feel like it's a major missed opportunity for the fact that there is no classic mode within this mod. This mod desperately needs classic mode. It would be perfect for it. And I know, that sounds like a massive endeavor, but I feel like it would really appeal to more players, since some may only come to this mod to really play it for free skate anyway. And having an extra mode for single player fans to go through would really bring this entire experience full circle. Just imagine, being able to play classic mode across the entire series of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Thug, and Thaw all in one place. There would be so much content here that you would never really need another mainline Tony Hawk game to be made, because every iteration of the series would be here in just one spot. And we don't need a story mode or anything like that, we just need the classic Tony Hawk gameplay experience. With 2 minutes on the clock and 8 to 10 goals to complete on each level, I mean, damn dude, that would be perfect, especially for this mod. And I know, it's wishful thinking, but damn dude, having classic mode in this mod would be incredible, and I and many others in the community would love to see something like this happen. Even if it's just Thug 2's classic mode to start us off, that would be dope. But hey, maybe we'll see something like that in future updates, because keep in mind, this mod is still in development, so I'll keep my fingers crossed on that one, because like I said, it would really bring this mod full circle. Overall though, if you're looking to come back and play the Tony Hawk series at all for whatever reason, I cannot recommend this mod enough. It is by far the greatest achievement in the Tony Hawk community because it's been able to gather so many of us fans of this splintered series over onto these servers and be able to come back and play these classic experiences with the community over the past 10 years. And it's been such a damn good time. The mod, even for how long it's been in development, is still not finished either. as they're only on their 0.8 update so far, and the devs are still working hard on this mod on their free time. So if you'd like to keep up with the development of this mod or just want to check it out, make sure to check out the link in the description for the mod page itself, as it will even guide you through the steps of acquiring the necessary files that you'll need to play this bad boy. And when you do finally load this up, I guarantee you'll enjoy some classic Tony Hawk multiplayer in the greatest fashion yet. It is a great time, and if you're a Tony Hawk fan, what are you doing? You have to play this mod. It's so good. But anyways, have you played THUGPRO? And also, would you like to see a classic mode implemented on this mod? Let me know down in the comments down below, because I would love to hear from any other Pro Skater fans who have also been enjoying this mod over the years and would like to hear from you. Also, if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like, and hey, if you like videos about community-made mods, make sure to subscribe or at least check out the channel. I cover a variety of modded content over here on the channel, with a lot of it being Grand Theft Auto focused lately, but I love talking everything about mods, because some of the best gaming experiences out these days are made by the wonderful communities who do this all in their free time. So stick around if you want to see more modded content get covered down the line. But anyways, that is all for me. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, or a better day tomorrow, and I will see you all on the next one. Blado out.